What's up, everybody? It's JT Sports and back you guys with another video. This video I'm here with my Indianapolis Colts versus the Pittsburgh Steelers Week 9 NFL preview and prediction. I'm going to be previewing this matchup and get my prediction for who will win this game. Now, before I begin, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, NFL videos and college football videos daily. Also, make sure to hit the notification button, which is the little bell icon on the right side of the subscribe button. It will alert you that every time I upload a new video so you never miss a new upload. So, we have the 5-2 Indianapolis Colts who are coming off for a very close win versus the Denver Broncos. And they're going to be on the road versus a 3-4 Steelers team that is coming off of a win versus the Miami Dolphins. In a game that the Pittsburgh Steelers kind of started out a little bit rough, but ended up crawling back into the game and they ended up taking over the game in the second half and they ended up winning. So this is a very big game. This is a must-win game for both of these teams. For the Indianapolis Colts, they need to win this game because this division in the AFC South is very close. Tennessee is 4-4, Jacksonville is 4-4, and you got the Texans and you got the Colts here who are up there. So, I mean, Indianapolis cannot afford to lose this game because you lose this game, then you lose a little bit of footing in the division, and you allow the Tennessee Titans and Jacksonville Jaguars, they could potentially end up winning their games next week, and they can end up getting back into the divisional race and things like that. So, I mean, the Indianapolis Colts need to win this game if they want to keep on track and trying to win this division, and the Pittsburgh Steelers need to win this game just because the Pittsburgh Steelers are basically in playoff mode right now. The Pittsburgh Steelers cannot afford to lose another game over the next couple of weeks if they're trying to get back into the playoffs. So this is a must-win game for both of these teams. Both of these teams, for the Indianapolis Colts, this is an Indianapolis Colts team that has been pretty good. A lot of people were writing off the Indianapolis Colts because Andrew Luck retired and things like that. But me, in the offseason, I had confidence in Jacoby Brissett, that Jacoby Brissett was going to be good enough to help this Indianapolis Colts still stay in the playoff contention. And I believe that the Indianapolis Colts can end up winning this division. This team was actually my pick to end up winning the AFC South division before the season began. Even with Andrew Luck retiring, I still picked the Indianapolis Colts to win the division. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, although I didn't choose them to win the division, I thought the Browns or the Ravens will end up winning the division. I still thought Pittsburgh will have a good shot at making the playoffs. And right now, they need to win this game. So the Indianapolis Colts need to win this game because they need to keep foot in the division. And the Pittsburgh Steelers need to win this game just because they're basically in playoff mode right now. Pittsburgh cannot afford to lose another game, or if Pittsburgh loses another game, then they set themselves back even further in the playoff race. And plus, Pittsburgh needs to win this game because they still have a potential to win this division. And here's why, because Baltimore has a very tough stretch coming up. Baltimore has to play the Rams, they play the Patriots this coming week. They got a couple of other games. They got Buffalo coming up in a couple of weeks. So the Baltimore Ravens have a very tough schedule. And Pittsburgh, looking at Baltimore's schedule, and if Baltimore slips up and loses a few of those games that they had coming up, and if Pittsburgh's able to win a couple of these games that they have coming up, Pittsburgh has a good chance of getting back into the divisional race. So it's very important that not only that Pittsburgh wins this game to keep their footing and trying to get back into playoff contention or to stay in playoff contention, but they also need to win this game because it would also keep them in the mix of things for the division. Now, Baltimore, even if they do lose versus the New England Patriots, they're still going to have a couple of games up on the Pittsburgh Steelers, but it will keep the Pittsburgh Steelers within reach. So, when we look at the Indianapolis Colts and the Pittsburgh Steelers, I mean, both of these teams have been fairly solid. Indianapolis has been pretty solid on both sides of the ball. Justin Houston has pretty much been their best player, in my opinion, on the defensive side of the ball. When it comes to getting after the passer, Darius Leonard has also been pretty solid as well. Jacoby Brissett has been what I expected out of him. He's been solid, and he has done pretty well. And Marlon Mack, a lot of Indianapolis Colts fans, they love Marlon Mack, man. Now, every comment I see is about Marlon Mack and how good Marlon Mack is doing. Marlon Mack is on pace to have a 1,200 rushing yard season, and Marlon Mack most likely will end up making a Pro Bowl this year. You also have a very solid offensive line in the Indianapolis Colts when it comes to run blocking, led by Quentin Nelson. And then on the defensive side of the ball for the Pittsburgh Steelers, this is a Pittsburgh Steelers team that is now top 10 in defensive yards allowed. So they're top 10 in yards per game allowed. They're top 10 in the NFL. And this is a team that's starting to kind of get a little bit of momentum. They got a couple of wins on their belt after starting the season off a little bit rough. They're dealing with injuries. We don't know the status of James Conner going into this game. Jalen Samuels, not really sure if it's a high percent chance that he ends up playing in this game. Benny Snell also has some injuries as well. And you got Trey Edmonds, who would probably be the starting halfback if Jalen Samuels, James Conner, and Benny Snell aren't ready to go for this game. But from what I've been hearing, the reports that I've been reading so far, researching facts for this video, is that Jalen Samuels should be ready to go in this matchup if James Conner isn't able to go, because James Conner has a shoulder injury, so it's no telling how long he's going to be out and if he's even going to be ready to play in this game. Mike Tomlin, his post-game press conference, kind of rolled off the injury and things like that, like it was nothing really serious from what Mike Tomlin has been saying, but we don't really know the full extent of James Conner's injury. But it is highly reported. I read a couple of websites that said Jalen Samuels should be ready to go in this matchup. So Jalen Samuels, he's just as good as James Conner. He's a powerful runner. He's also very good catching the ball out of the backfield as well. So you're really not going to miss a beat with Jalen Samuels at the halfback position with James Conner, although James Conner has picked up his production the last couple of weeks. But Jalen Samuels is good enough to keep up the production behind a very good offensive line. That is the best offensive line the sacks per game allowed. Mason Rudolph hasn't really getting sacked that much, and this is probably one of the best offensive lines in the NFL when it comes to pass protection and run blocking. And if you're the Indianapolis Colts, this defensive line is going to have a tough task trying to get pressure on Mason Rudolph. Now, the thing about Mason Rudolph, I know people want to talk about Mason Rudolph, how Mason Rudolph kind of struggled last week. You guys got to think, Mason Rudolph didn't play in the NFL game for the last couple of weeks. He was out for an injury, so I was expecting him to have a little bit of rust, not really be in the NFL action for that much, and he, for the most part, for 3.5 quarters, didn't really play that well, but he picked it up in the fourth quarter. Later on in the third quarter, late in the third quarter, like midway through the third quarter, he picked up his performance and ended up having a pretty solid game for the most part, besides starting out pretty sluggish to begin with. So looking at my keys to victory, what both of these teams to be able to do to win this game, the Pittsburgh Steelers have to be able to score in the red zone. That's been my biggest pet peeve with the Pittsburgh Steelers this whole entire season, is their inability to score in the red zone. The LA Chargers was probably the best game I saw when it came to Pittsburgh inside the red zone, but for some reason, other than that game, they just cannot seem to punch it in inside the red zone. And I mean, Pittsburgh is 28th in the NFL in red zone offense when it comes to scoring touchdowns. They only score touchdowns on 41% of their appearances when they're inside of the red zone. And that's not good, because now getting into the meat of their schedule, Pittsburgh, if you want to be the Indianapolis Colts team, you have to be able to score touchdowns inside the red zone instead of coming away with only 3 points. Now, I know Chris Boswell has been exceptional this season after bouncing back what was a terrible performance last year, but I mean, you have to be able to score touchdowns in the red zone. If Pittsburgh isn't able to score touchdowns in this game inside the 20, then I think this game could end up favoring Indianapolis if Pittsburgh isn't able to come away with touchdowns and they're just walking away with field goals. And that's been the biggest thing with this Pittsburgh Steelers offense, is that they haven't really been able to punch it in when they get inside the 20. So that is something that they definitely had to be able to do if they want to be able to win this game. The next thing that the Pittsburgh Steelers had to be able to do is they had to force turnovers. When you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers over the last couple of weeks, what has sparked this little bit of a win streak is the fact that they've been able to force turnovers and put the offense in good field position. This defense has been playing lights out. This defense is able to get pressure on the quarterback. They're able to force turnovers, and the secondary has started to rebound from a little bit of a rough outing that they had the first couple of weeks to start the season off, but the secondary is starting to pick up some momentum and some confidence. So if you're Pittsburgh, you have to be able to force turnovers, and you have to put your offense in good field position so you can help them out, because this is an offense that at times has been pretty much lackluster and has been unable to move the ball up and down the field consistently over the midway point of the season. So midway through the season, Pittsburgh's offense has kind of struggled. They've pretty much been really inconsistent when it comes to moving the ball up and down the field. And the last thing the Pittsburgh Steelers need to be able to do is, this is last on my list because we don't really know the stats of these halfbacks, but they have to be able to run the ball. And even if Jalen Samuels and James Conner and Benny Snell aren't ready to go, Trey Edmonds, I've heard a lot of good things about him in training camp and in the preseason, so he's going to have to step up and he's going to have to be able to carry the load for the Pittsburgh Steelers in the run game. And they're still going to have some production despite having three of their top halfbacks out in this game, or they could end up being out in this game. We don't really know so far, but Trey Edmonds is going to have to be able to have some production, and Pittsburgh is still going to have to be able to run the ball, because you don't really want to put a lot of pressure on Mason Rudolph. This is a guy who is still trying to get back into form after missing the last couple of weeks. Now, the Indianapolis Colts had to be able to do it. They had to be able to get pressure on Mason Rudolph. Now, like we saw versus the Miami Dolphins in that game Monday night, if you're able to get a little bit of pressure on Mason Rudolph's face, he kind of, it gets a little bit iffy. He kind of gets a little bit paranoid if you're able to get pressure on his face. And this Pittsburgh Steelers offensive line has been the best offensive line in football when it comes to protecting the quarterback. And the Indianapolis Colts are going to have to find ways to get pressure on Mason Rudolph and try to force him to make mistakes. And the last thing Indianapolis has to be able to do is they have to be able to limit turnovers. Turnovers is a big thing of Pittsburgh's defense. Pittsburgh's defense forces a lot of turnovers. I think they're top 5 in the NFL in forcing turnovers. And this is a Pittsburgh Steelers defense that when they force turnovers, they put their offense in good field position. So if you're the Indianapolis Colts, you have to be able to take care of the football. So the team that I'm going with to win this game, I'm going with the Pittsburgh Steelers to win this game. A reason why I'm going with the Pittsburgh Steelers to win this game is because I think this defense is going to be good enough to get pressure on Jacoby Brissett. And I think this defense is going to be able to force a couple of turnovers. And this game is at home, and Pittsburgh is a very tough team to beat on the road. So I'm going with Pittsburgh to win this game. I think this game ends up being fairly close. I think Pittsburgh wins this game. 20-17 is my final score prediction. So let me know who you guys think ends up winning this game down in the comment section down below. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel for more NFL videos and content. And thanks for watching.